Hi there. Welcome back to Love is Patient 444. You might be wondering why I called it that, because on this journey, love is patient, and I have artwork in my home on that scripture that really is supposed to lead how we operate in here. It doesn't happen all the time. But also the 444 is because I have seen that number consistently throughout my life, not really understanding why. So I thought I would pay homage to it in the naming of my Twin Flame channel. Okay. So today, I feel led to check in on the actions of the Divine Masculine. I do want to say I've got something cooking on the stove, so I will have to get up probably somewhere between this, but it'll be fine. Okay, so I have my Mother's Wisdom deck here. And so what I believe I'm being led to do is to pull cards with regards to the masculine energy's actions, what it looks like, and then what it really is. Okay? So who knows what's going to come out in these cards? All right, let's go. So what it looks like. Oh, and what it really is. Really? That's interesting. What it looks like is Pachamama, which means earth honoring. It looks like it's earth honoring. But underneath, what it really is river or surrender. Well, this is going to be good. And at the bottom of this deck is beauty. So let's look at what Pachamama means. O-N-O-P. Okay. Here is Pachamama. Haha. So here's the thing. Oh my goodness. This is why it makes sense. Because I'm like, it's going to look like he's earth honoring. I don't know, but watch, okay? So the shadow for being earth honoring is disregard. I shouldn't be smiling. I'm just smiling because of how the messages just come out. Already, we just started already? Okay. So it looks like disregard to you, right? But really what's happening underneath is surrender. So let's get into this. Okay. So Pachamama, the shadow energy, this is what it looks like in the 3D with your eyes, the interaction, what you're, or how you're interpreting their behavior, right? Because they're really not responsible for your interpretation. That's up to you. But it says here, our kinship with earth must be maintained. Otherwise, we will find ourselves trapped in the center of our own paved over souls with no way out. My God. Terry Tempest Williams is saying this. So I'm going to read this one more time because this is on point. Our kinship with earth must be maintained. Otherwise, we will find ourselves trapped in the center of our own paved over soul with no way out. Wow. So this card calls for an awakening within. It talks about finding a way to save your soul, and that earth begins at home. You ever hear the saying, charity begins at home? Earth, charity, taken care of, nurturing, growing, creation, sustenance, foundation begins at home. And because They have not nurtured their own soul because they have put themselves in situations whereby they're either numbing themselves or allowing other people to drive the wheel for them. They are being paved over. I just get an earth being buried alive. Being buried alive. And sometimes we do things that make us think that we're honoring ourselves, right? Like we might, I don't know, we're exercising. We are buying organic food. We are, walking more instead of taking the car all the time. There's this push here in Toronto to take the TTC, to live, work, and be happy within your community. You can walk to work, you can drive to work, your events, all that kind of stuff, right? And so they might be making movements thinking that, I'm doing what's right, I'm doing the right thing, I'm doing the best thing, but they're not. The other thing is Earth represents pentacles in the tarot, right? So your job, your car, your health, your well-being, those earthly material things, right? And so there's a sense of taking care of those things because we do, need clothing and food and whatnot to survive, yes. But there's a time when we tip the balance and maybe we're too concerned with those things that they start burying us. The very thing that's supposed to give him sustenance and help and support and nutrients somehow in the process becomes corrupted. That there is a disregard that begins inherently within them and it extends to their environment. What is going on here today? Wow. Okay. This says that you need to learn respect and the importance of relationships because they're both important. And when out of balance things occur. It talks about paying attention to the signs along the way. Spending time in nature. And I think somewhere in here, they feel that there is a lack of acknowledgement for what it is they've been able to do, for the ways in which they have overcome, or they feel that there's been a sense of improvement for them and that they're making strides, that they're trying. Because this earth honoring, when you look at this card, right? When you look at it, she's wearing a beautiful woven tapestry. There's flowers and that looks like a sunflower. I want to believe that's a butterfly that's in her hand, right? There's a balance between moon and sun energies. She's an embodiment of all the seasons. If you look up by her heart here, there's emotion, it's flowing. She's abundance. And again, when you look at the masculine energy, it's going to seem like they're flourishing, everything's okay. I could tell you, my masculine has communicated in the past that he doesn't have any money to help take care of our son. Okay? And this is years ago, so I haven't looked in quite a while, so I just want to say that, right? I almost have no interest in knowing what he's doing on social media. But they went to Europe and he's snapping plates of food and he's in front of Stonehenge. He's in front of Buckingham Palace. He's taking these helicopter rides all over the place. He's wearing these coveted, Nike shoes. It looks so freaking abundant. That's the outward facing picture that you're seeing, but inwardly there's disregard. Inwardly there is them being perhaps forced in a way to surrender. forced to surrender in two ways. I'm not even finished with this card, but we're gonna go wherever I'm being led here. They're forced to surrender one to the weight of this earthly distortion, right? They're swayed by it's looking good, they're posing, life is looking grand. Meanwhile, they're rotting inside. Their soul is being paved over. They are buried under earth, grasping for breath and not asking for the help that they need. Wow. They're being called to pay attention to bringing back community and the things that are essential into their lives. Holy moly. And then there's the other card, surrender. And so the opposite energy of surrender is being inflexible. Give me 1 second. I gotta get something off the stove. Just give me 1 second, 1 second. Okay, I'm back. So, okay, where was I? Okay. So it looks like they're doing well. Underneath that is a surrender. I said there were two parts to the surrender. So one, they're surrendering to the weight of their environment, the weight of the earth, the weight of what they've created, right? And on the other hand, they're surrendering to the situation. When they deal with you, there appears to be an air of disregard and inflexibility, right? They may be dismissive in their words or their actions, but I, at the same time, am being led to say to you, what are the areas in your own life that pertain to you, not them, you, that you're disregarding? Where are the areas in your life where you have proven to be inflexible? And I'm not talking about having principles and integrity. You need that, okay? There's some things in that are non-negotiable. But I'm talking about other things that might be going on in your life. Are you inflexible in the way in which you view your masculine? Are you incapable or rigid or unwilling to give them the benefit of the doubt? I can feel the eyes rolling. You don't know love is patient, what they've done, what they've said, I get it. Maybe one day I'll tell my story. But I also don't see the need in continuing to repeat things that I don't want to draw to me. So we'll see what happens with that. But what I'm saying is, there is an air of inflexibility, but that will soon shift to surrender if it hasn't started already. There is this false machismo, if you will, of they've got it going on. But underneath, they're realizing that they've disregarded themselves, their needs, their wants, their true passion. They've lost who they are. Because as beautiful of a card this is, in a way they've created a hell on earth, that they are recognizing that if they don't make some type of change, they will be paved over. They will be buried alive. They'll be buried alive. I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to say any more than that, because our words are important, the way in which we speak about them. Oh. Is that something? Why is that? Oh, okay. When I look at this card here, there's a person. I'm inclined to say it's a man shape, if you will, the shape of a man who is reaching and trying to get out. And the thing is, I'm not looking at this card with its initial intention or meaning being earth honoring, because the masculine is not in those are not his actions. His actions have not been honoring to himself. They've not been honoring to his feminine. There's an inherent truth here that is missing. And they're locked in a land of comforts, right? They might have the house or the car, or they might not have it, and they're striving for that. If you look at the feminine in this one, the river, she in a way has the same position, hands up, out, released. Because there's two ways you can do this. You can reach for more material things, or you can reach for the emotional things. You can reach for, and if you look here, there's very little blue in this card. Very little blue. But learning to speak for what they need, learning to go with the flow, learning to be quenched and satisfied by things that they may not normally surround themselves with. I feel like this is a decluttering that needs to happen in their life. There's a lot of stuff here in this picture. The masculine needs to go back to things being simplistic, clear cut, removing some of the clutter and the confusion that is currently surrounding them. And I said earlier, putting a weight on them. He's at the bottom of all of this. Okay. Is there anything else in here? Okay, I didn't read to you the surrender. So surrender says, nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water. Yet for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it. The soft overcomes the hard, the gentle overcomes the rigid. Everyone knows this is true, but few can put it into practice. And so right now what's happening for them is that they are learning to soften. That rigidity that they show you, that unwillingness, the arrogance, if you will, this weight of disregarding things, I mean, you can only do that for so long. That can't go on forever. It can't go on forever. You only have so much time to play the fool. And this, in a way, to me, feels like justice, right? They've been given chances. They've been given some temperance. They didn't take it. They sat there and Four of Cups it. They were unwilling. This also speaks to me of inconsistent, incongruent actions within the masculine, not just in his environment, right? But also within himself. This is very Five of Wands, because again, Seven of Pentacles, because he's being forced to take a look at what he's created. And he's recognizing as within, so without, right? So he's recognizing that because there is chaos and turmoil and a sense of dissatisfaction, right? And an element of fakery, if you will, right? That is the world that he has created. Yet he's being crushed under it because he's disregarded truths. He's disregarded truths, and he has been inflexible and rigid and unwilling to fix and correct. And so now this situation is pressing on him and forcing him to learn to go with the flow and to clear house, if you will, to cut through the situation that he's placed himself in. Let's see. I've already prayed and shuffled, but I just want to give it another shuffle. Please provide us with the insight that we need on the actions of the Divine Masculine. We've talked about how it looks and what it really is underneath. Such an amazing revelation that we're getting here. How amazing. And I just ask for, like, honestly, I could end the reading here and we're good. The Lovers. He disregarded the love. He disregarded his self-love. He disregarded real love in exchange for material wealth, for presentation, for IG posts. Disregard. And that disregard was a decision, by the way. The Lover's card isn't always just about romance. You're making decisions and choices, and they decided to trade real for something else. And now they're feeling it. That's what's underneath it. This is definitely justice. Like, okay, I've given you this and you're playing around? Okay, that's all right. No problem. I'm going to give you some time. You've got some lessons that you have to learn here. I don't want to say the K word because that is not what this channel is about. We are not focused on that. We draw to us what we want in our lives. We don't spend time focused on talking about, unless the leading from above is so strong that it needs to be communicated. I will most certainly be obedient. But speaking about focusing on blaming, the truth is, those are lessons they need to learn. They are being tenderized right now, right? You can tenderize with salt, or you can use that tool that they used to pound with, right? And so he's had his moment for salt. Salt is over. Look at this. I got 3. Okay. That's right. Surrender. So they're learning not to be defensive because they are so wounded. So wounded. And so there's also the Fool card, because they want to do things anew. They have learned from being in this situation here. They have learned what it means to disregard themselves and to not love themselves and care for themselves and to put others ahead of what is important. If they haven't learned it, they're in the process, or they're just about to step into the now of learning it, okay? So they're learning to surrender. They're learning to surrender. Fighting the love. You see, this here, these two cards, when they show this card, you get the impression that there are other people holding the wands, coming at you, jabbing at you. And yeah, sure, in some circumstances that's true, but that's not what this is. This is him jabbing at himself. All the passion, the desire, and the spiritual enlightenment that has been coming his way, he's been fighting them down. He didn't want any part of it. Don't want to hear it, don't want to know it. Happily, blissfully, and not really happily, but happily ignorant in his own world over here, a world that he created. A world that he created. Fighting down his urges. I should call the divine feminine. Why don't I love myself enough? I know I deserve more than this. I really wish I could do this. What are these signs and synchronies that I'm seeing? What does this mean? How does it connect? You understand? This is all going on inside of him. Actions that he's being prodded and told to take, whether it is that he goes out for a drive and he sees a sign that has your name, or he's reminded of a song or something. These things are coming at him, and he's been fighting and combating them to keep them away so that he doesn't have to deal with it. But no more. No more. I shouldn't be laughing. I'm sorry. No more. Right? He's being given an opportunity to go back to ground zero, to start over, to pack light, Okay. We are going to, where's my, all right. Please provide an oracle to close off this reading. To provide insight. Two of them. So we talked about the pentacles. We talked about Earth being related to the pentacles in tarot, right? And so this card says health. Allow me, divine, to be tender and accepting of my body, no matter what ailments I may have. May I always know it's doing the best that it can. Help me to be a loving ally and a friend to this sacred form. This card gives the impression that in this journey, he has not been tender with himself. If you think he's only been harsh and challenging with you, he's been harsh and challenging with himself. If you think that your pain is excruciating, he is constantly challenging and questioning himself, his path, his steps, his movements, his desires, how he's interpreting situations, what he's feeling inside. And he's being reminded that he needs to be tender. And he needs to accept what is happening. Because the second card says forgiveness. Look at this. Health, okay? So let me bring it in. Let me calm down. The first card was health, and it says, allow me, divine, to be tender and accepting of my body no matter what ailments I may have. May I always know it's doing the best that it can. Help me be a loving ally and friend to this sacred form, meaning he has to now start showing himself compassion and care. He has to find a way to alleviate the dichotomy, the back and forth, the split that he's experiencing within himself. Okay, so this is about health. This card is about forgiveness. And this forgiveness card says this: healing. Healing comes from acceptance. Over here, he's being reminded to be tender and accepting. Help me, dear Lord, to fully accept what is, knowing that this alone will open me to the new. So what is for the divine masculine? What is? What is that he's in a situation that he knows isn't good for him. He knows that he's helped to create it, right? He's been, we're just going to say, dismissive in a number of ways. You fill in your own blanks. I'm not going to put those words forward, okay? And in denying himself and in denying you, he has dismissed his blessing. He's dismissed his blessing. He is now learning to surrender and to deal with these wands one by one, by learning to go with the flow, by learning to get comfortable with emotion. And in so doing, that is where his healing will be. His healing is in being tender and compassionate to himself. His healing is learning to accept the situation as it is, right? To be in the now. This is the situation. His healing is the love that he needs to show himself, the forgiveness that he needs to have for himself and for your union, right? But it must start with him. So if you are in communication with your masculine, right, and they're coming to you all heave-ho and showboaty, see beyond that. See beyond what it is. See beyond what it is. Don't fall for the trap. We already know that IG and FB and all that stuff is manufactured. And often it's not even for the good of the people that are having it manufactured for. They're doing it for a purpose, okay? So to recap, when you see them, you're going to see a rigidity and inflexibility. But really what it is that their soul is being paved over. And they're coming to the realization that they need to actually do something about it. And so I also want you to look at where in your life are you being paved over. Watch. Are you only watching divine masculine readings? Right? That's all you search for? You don't care about anything else. You don't care about your own soul development, your own growth, your own achievements. You're always constantly worrying about what are they doing? Where are they? Are they with the... Is he still at work? Oh my gosh, he works so much. Not your deal, baby. Those are his lessons that he's learning. So if you are overly focused on them, you are disregarding yourself. You're doing the same thing in a different way, but you're doing the same thing because you guys mirror one another. So as much as you're watching these divine masculine readings, also understand indirectly or directly, depending on how you want to look at it, you are learning about yourself as well. So where is it in your life that you need to learn to go with the flow? Where is it in your life that you might be overly defensive or you're not paying attention to your needs? Are there areas in your life where there's unforgiveness, feminine? Are you taking care of your health? Are you working on learning to accept the situation and find something you are passionate for you? That will take away the obsessiveness, the yearning, it'll take it away. It will. And I'm not going to tell you find a mission where you're going to save the world. I'm not going to tell you that stuff. I'm going to tell you find something that you care about and that matters to you and that you can throw yourself into, and you will change the lives of those around you and those that are connected to you. And that's all you need to do. You need to change your life first, and then you can be a light to others. That's it. Put yourself first. I'm not talking about the narcissistic way, right? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about loving yourself, becoming balanced within yourself, healing your wounds, putting down the defensiveness, creating an environment that is honoring to you. And you allow people in your world who honor you. The ones that don't want to, see you, baby. See you later. You don't have to argue with anybody. You don't have to justify anything to anyone. You don't. You love yourself. You take risks, you take chances, you get healing, you forgive. Okay? And if you have to work on your fitness like I do, whittle down a bit of the weight, eat a little healthier, all those things, then that's what you do. That's what you do. Feminine, we've done a masculine reading. You have a deeper and better understanding of him. But also use this reading to take a look at yourself and see where there's opportunity for improvement for you. Because the twin flame journey is about you, my darling. It's about you. Thank you for listening to my reading. Thank you for continuing to support and watch. I so appreciate it. Again, as I sit here, I'm so amazed that I'm doing this because I would never. I wouldn't. Before I learned about all this stuff and, more about who I am and all, I would never see this day happening. But it's here, and it's been here, and I'm grateful to you. So until next time, I want to give you something. Okay. I forgive, and I am open to the new. I'm loving towards myself. I am my own friend. That's for you to think about today, okay?